Today's question is, what are my spiritual goals for the next year, and how will I work towards achieving them? My big spiritual goal, which almost seems like a counterintuitive thing because spirituality is very much about just accepting where you are at this moment. My spiritual goal is to have an ego death, is to really have the experience of no longer being attached to whatever I'm going to call Joe. I want to have that experience. I talked about what my biggest weakness is that I still think that I'm Joe, and I still want things that are going to make Joe better somehow. And I want to just not even have Joe there to even give those things to. Not necessarily permanently, but I want to just have an experience of not being identified with him. And I'm aware before it even happens. And you can hear me swallowing that classic movie gulp. It's probably going to be intensely terrifying if I do have that experience. You read all about those kinds of experiences. They're not fun. I mean, sometimes spirituality is all flowery and cool and shiny, and it's also terrifying. There's a huge dark side to it. I am scared to die. And having an ego death experience is not the same as what most people think of as physically dying. I don't need to go into the details of what exactly I mean by it. It's just, I'm scared to die. I'm scared to even have the full realization that I'm going to die. When the thought comes up, I can either sit with it, but it's at a very surface level understanding of, yeah, I'm going to die. It's all pretty much just lip service. It's not a real deep internalization. Or some days I'm too scared and I can't even say that. I'll change the subject in my mind. I'll have all these distractions. That's what we do most of our life, is fill it with distractions to the fact that we are going to die. That is the ultimate fear. The ultimate fear, and that's exactly why I want to have the experience of an ego death. It's to face the ultimate fear. The book Spiritually Incorrect Enlightenment draws a lot of comparisons to Moby Dick, standing on the ship, going right into the mouth of the big thing. Let's go full force into the most fundamental, biggest, scariest, darkest, all of art surrounding this fear. The fear that we are going to die. I mean, I am going to die is scarier to me because I'm self-centered. I am literally at the center of my own universe. And I'm not ready to do it today. But then, will I ever be ready for it? I don't know. How am I going to go about doing this? I have practices. I have practices that I've talked a little bit about before or alluded to that I don't want to go into a lot of detail of. I know, I'll pretty much know, I'll wake up one morning and know that it's going to happen. That I'm gonna thrust myself right into it. And it's gonna be so scary. And I will come out the other side. It's like, why should you do all this terrifying self-inquiry and real contact with the truth? It's because you're gonna find that you're gonna survive it. You can survive an ego death. You can survive death. That still doesn't make sense to me. I'm only going off of what I've read in books. This is one place where faith, which I talked about a few videos prior, comes into play. Is that there even is such thing as an ego death, and that there is something that lies on the other side of it. I have to accept with all this that it might not even be possible. I don't know. There might not even be such thing as an ego death. There might not be such a thing as spiritual enlightenment. And even if there is, I might never find it. I appreciate Kermit's full certainty that someday we'll find it. I really do appreciate that. Keeps me going sometimes. The littlest, simplest, most basic of sayings. They're really my signposts along this entire path.